Daf Hashavua Moed Katan Beis Amud Beis. We're going to start from Beis Amud Aleph toward the bottom of the Amud by the wide line to El Amar of Papa. Just to remind you that we're trying to figure out who the Tan of our Mishnah is. And the Mishnah said two Chidush. One Chiddush the Mishnah said is that when you do work on Chol HaMoed, you could only do something that it's going to affect, that you shouldn't have a pseida, a loss. But you can't do something for ravacha, for profit above the way you are now. That's one thing the Mishnah says. And the second thing that the Mishnah says is that even when you do it not to have a loss, you could only do it when you what? When it's not Tirach Yisera. But when it's Tirach Yisera, even for a loss, you can't do anything about it. So the Mishnah wants to know who the Tana of the Mishnah is. So the Mishnah tried once, and to say that it's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and then the Gemara says there's no raya that it's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Says the Gemara Vaiter, El Amar Papa, Amani Rabbi Yehudi. The Tana of the Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda, the Tanya, because we learned in a Braisa. Ma'ayin ha'yotze b'tchila. If you have a spring, a new spring that went out, mashkin mimeno afilu sada beis habal. Divrei Rab Meir. Rab Meir holds that you could even water a sada beis habal. Now that's clearly not like a Mishnah, because watering a sada beis habal is not necessary for pseida. It only causes the most ravacha, and therefore profit, and therefore our Tana for sure won't hold that. Rab Meir says you could do that. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Ein mashkin el sada beis hashlachin." You only let it use a sada beis hashlachin shecharva that got dried out. Gemara is going to explain what that means, but so far that sounds a little bit more like us. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, "Loikach v'loikach." You can't do any of those, which is clearly not our Mishnah either. Yes, al kainam Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda added a point. So far, if it's going to be Rabbi Yehuda, we'll have the point that for you're allowed to water a sada beis hashlachin. We just don't see anything about Tirach Yisera yet. Says the Gemara in the Brisa. Says the Brisa further. Yes, al kainam Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda added one more thing. He said, "Lo yifana odam ama samayim." A person is not allowed to clean out a canal, a water canal. V'yashkel ginasur l'chavasa b'chol shamayit. And water his gina, his garden, or churvasa, or ruin. A churva is when you had a building that fell down. The building was sitting on a plot of land and fell down, and you cleared it in order to use it as for planting. That area where the building is seemingly needs a lot of extra. It's even worse than a sada beis hashlachin. It's worse than an irrigated field. It needs a lot of water. So he says that you're not allowed to clean out an amas hamayim v'yashkel l'ginasur l'chavasai, and to water your gina and your churva b'chayil shamayid, because it's a tirach yisera. So things are looking a little bit good here, except we want to know what it means it dried out. The first statement of Rabbi Yehuda, my charva. What does it mean in the first statement? Don't get mixed up between charva, dried out, and churva, a destroyed piece of land, a destroyed building. My charva. What does it mean? It got dried out. It just dried out like a bone. So lamali demashkila. Why should you be able to water at all? There's nothing you could do about it. It's dry. It's done. Right? Lamali demashkila. Amar Abaya. Shechar b'mayin ze'ah v'yatzel b'mayin acher. It doesn't mean that the field dried out. It means that the spring dried out, and now you have to use a new spring. So one spring dried out, and now you wanted to use a new spring. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah loikach v'loikach. You can't use any loishna chara mayana, even it doesn't matter if it got dried out. V'loishna loichara mayana, doesn't matter if it didn't get dried out. Ma'in shiatzim t'chil loy. You can't use a new spring because he's nervous that it might come to the walls, because it's a new spring. It might come to fall in, and you might come to fix it, and that would be a tirach yisera. So the Gemara now wants to prove that the Tana of our Mishnah is going to be Rabbi Yehuda. Why? So first of all, because he says you could only do it for sada beis hashlachin, right? That's the words of the Mishnah. The words of the Mishnah of the Brisa. The Brisa says Mayin hayotzim etchila mashkin mimenu afilu sada beis abal divra meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ein mashkin ol sada beis hashlochen. So you see right away that Rabbi Yehuda holds that you're only allowed to do, you're only allowed to fix a pseida, but you're not allowed to do revacha. He doesn't let you do a sada beis abal, only a sada beis hashlochen. So that's one fact. Now, as far as the fact that you're not allowed to do tirch yisera, so first of all, the Brisa says, the Yeser al Kain, he says you're not allowed to clean out a canal that got stuffed up because of tirch yisera. And then Rashi adds one more point. He says, another raya, the first raya, he says, is because he says that you're allowed to use a new one when you had an old one. So he says, Lo shari Rabbi Yehuda l'mayin sheyatzala lav tircha. I'm sorry, he only lets you use a spring because it's not a tircha. Aval megashamim will make kiloin, but the megashamim make kiloin, which we had in our Mishnah, which is going to be a tircha yisera, the tirchu lo shari. So that's another diak. So if they ask on the Daf Hashavua test, give me two reasons how the Gemara proves that Rabbi Yehuda holds that tircha yisera is not good. Is first of all, he only mentions a ma'ayin, a spring. And mashma, he doesn't let megashamim make kiloin. That's the first raya, says Rashi. And then the second one is because he says lo yafana, you're not allowed to clean out a canal because it's tirch yisera. So you see very clearly that our Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda. Frek the Gemara. Umimai, who said? Dilma, who said it's Rabbi Yehuda? 2 lines from the bottom. Ad kan lekam Rabbi Yehuda, beis hashlachin and beis habaloi. What do you want to prove? That it's Rabbi Yehuda because he only lets you water a beis hashlachin, not a beis habal. Who said maybe that's only Elamayin Ayatza B'tchila? Maybe that's because it's a new ma'ayin. If you look, he's talking about a new ma'ayin, right? Dilma Asil and Pulik, because there he's scared that it might come to fall, and therefore you might come to fix it on Yom Tov. Avamayin Shelo Yatza B'tchila, but a ma'ayin that's not new. The loyasil and puli, that it might not come to fall. So now filu beis habal nami, maybe he would allow you to get revacha, to get a profit as well. On that, the Gemara says it can't be. I'll tell you why. It's a nice svara, but imkei masnisan man termaya. Who's the Mishnah going to be like? We're bringing down 3 tanoim. We're bringing down the first Tana Rameir. We're bringing down Rabbi Yehuda, and then we're bringing down Rabbi Lazim Nazari. It has to be one of them. It's for sure not Rameir, because he allows Sada Beis Habal. It's for sure not Rabbi Lazim and Azariah because he doesn't allow anything. So the only one it could be is Rabbi Yehuda. So obviously this svara that the Gemara says, El Rabbi Yehuda lo yishlamayin sheyatzim b'tchila, v'lo yishlamayin shelo yatzim b'tchila. That he does. Obviously Rabbi Yehuda doesn't differentiate the way the Gemara has ha'avamina that it would be Beis Hashlachin and Beis Habal. So why does he only mention a ma'ayin sheyatzim b'tchila in the Brisa? That's the only thing he mentions and he allows you to use. Says the Gemara, that's not for Rabbi Yehuda. That's to tell us, to highlight the shita Rameir. V'hai dekatani ma'ayin sheyatzim b'tchila. And the reason why we said v'hai dekatani ma'ayin sheyatzim b'tchila lo diachal koichid Rameir. That's to tell us the strength, the shita, to highlight the sheet of Rameir, that afilu ma'ayin hayotzim etchila mashkim mimeno afilu sada beis habal. Even a ma'ayin hayotzim etchila, that there's somewhat of a concern that it could fall in, that there could be a concern. He says you could even do a sada beis habal. You could even allow it for revacha and not for pseida. One more Gemara. This is a little bit random, it seems, but the Gemara later is going to use it to ask on our Mishnah. Itmar, it was stated. We now go into Hilchos Shabbos, a new Gemara. Itmar, hamenachesh. If someone weeded vamashka, or if someone watered a field, mayim, lizroyim, for seeds, b'Shabbos on Shabbos. Mishum ma masrinim be. We know that in order to be chayav on Shabbos, you have to give asra. You have to give the right asra. So that we have 39 malachos, and when you do something that's not an exact malacha, it's a tolda, you have to know what is the original malacha that you're chayav for, so you could give asra for that malacha. Says the Gemara, mishum ma masrinim be. Rabba amar mishum chayrish. Rabba says that you do it mishum chayrish, because of plowing. That, and the Gemara is going to explain why. Rabbi Yosef Amar Mishum Zareya. It's because of sowing. Sowing. Amar Rabba says, Kavasi Didi Mistavra. I think that I'm more logical to say that it's chorish. Ma darkasho chorish, just like when you plow l'rafuyara, you're softening the ground. Hainami, when you weed and you're taking out the extra stuff out of the ground, mirapuyara, you're softening the ground. And when so therefore you're going to be chayiv because of chorish. Amar Rabbi Yosef Kavasi Didi Mistavra. It's more logical what I hold. Ma darka shozareya. What is sowing? L'tzamuche peira. You're making things grow. The produce grow. Hachanami mitzameach peira. When you weed and you take it out, you're taking out the garbage, the stuff that's in the way. You're allowing it to grow better. And when you water, you're also allowing it to go better. Amalei Abaye l'Rabba. So Abaye said to Rabba, wait a second. Lididach kasha or Rabbi Yosef kasha. Both you and Rabba I have a problem with. Lididach kasha, according to you, I have a problem. Mishum chayrish in mishum zarei aloi. You're chay mishum chayrish, but you should also be, you're not chay mishum zareya. You're also chay mishum zareya. It's also zareya. You can't deny that you're making it grow. Rabbi Yosef kasha, and according to Rabbi Yosef, it's also shra mishum zareya mishum chayrish aloi. Because zareya it is, but it's not chayrish. It's also chayrish. So therefore, you should be chayiv on both. Hold on one second. Rashi just mentions what happened to kaitzer. What happened to kaitzer? Reaping, right? There's a malacha called reaping, that you're cutting off the stuff in order to take wood for firewood. So Rashi says kaitzer is only that you had kavana to take whatever you're cutting, right? I'm sorry, the opposite. Kaitzer is you did not have kavana to take what you want. So therefore, this can't be kaitzer. Kaitzer is only the vade kaitzer hashvina. She'enim eskaven lital asavim elasakin asavim atayvim shebasada. I'm sorry, that way I said originally. Mishuma mesrinali. The my malach hashvina. The vade kaitzer loy hashvina. It's not kaitzer. She'enim eskaven lital asavim. The opposite, what I just said. Kaitzer is when you want to take the stuff. You want to take it for firewood, but here you don't care. You're just taking it to make it grow better or to make whatever reason you're taking it. But you don't need the stuff when you're weeding it. You don't need the stuff. So therefore, it's not going to be kaitzer. But keep that in mind. So says the Gemara. If Abaye said, if you're going to answer me that when there's two things, you're only going to be chayav one, that's not true. But Rav Kahana said, another Amira, he said, Zoymer, if you prune, when you prune, right? Pruning means when you cut off the excess branches. But tzarech leitzim, and you still want the eitzim, chayiv shtayim, achas mishum neiteya, you're planting, v'achas mishum kaitzer, and also kaitzer, because you want the branches, as we said. Kasha, so therefore, it is a question on both Abaya and, it's a question on both Rabba and Rav Yosef. I just want to mention one thing, and then with that we'll end. How could Abaye ask a question on Rabba and Rabbi Yosef from Rav Kahana? Rav Kahana was an Amayr also. How could he do that? So if you look at Taisus Chayiv, toward the bottom, a couple lines to the bottom, he said from the bottom of the page, from the bottom of the Taisus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he says, Ba'afagav to Rav Kahana Amayruhu, even though he's an Amayra, Makshimine l'Rabba Rabbi Yosef. They still ask the question, Bishum de Gaver Rabba Hava. He was a great person, and therefore it was understood that they couldn't argue on him. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody, for coming.